Hi golfers, Nick here from GOLFTEC Singapore. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on golf tips. This week on golf tips, we're going to continue the Swing Tru Motion Studies by GOLFTEC. This week we're going to look at hip turn. We've looked at sways, bends and side tilts in recent weeks. This week we're looking at hip turn. So first thing we're going to do is talk about how the golfer turns and how we use these motion measurements and what positions we're going to be looking at today in the video. The study done was talked about the impact position, which is P7, but we're actually going to talk about each position in the swing in a bit more detail. So first of all, I'm just going to draw my golfer. There's my swing centre. Got the draw built in on the grid. So at setup, which is P1, we're looking at somewhere the average tour player would be something like 7 degrees open with the hips. So the hip sensor is located on the back here. We're going to be concentrating on that today. But interesting fact, by the time the shaft gets to parallel in the backswing, you may be surprised to know that actually the average tour player is 25 to 30 degrees closed with the hips. So quite a big change at such a short period of time. By the time the player gets to the top, which is what we call P4, top of the backswing, the average tour player is 44 degrees closed. Now, when the golfer starts down, by the time the left arm is parallel, this is called position 5, the golfer is around about 0 degrees with the hips. So back to sort of 0 at that point. By the time we get to impact, which we call P7, according to the study, 36 degrees open would be the tour players. Now, the high handicappers aren't turning their hips enough. They're going to be like 19, so they're a little bit behind at this point. In this video, we're going to look at sort of turning the hips at different points, and I'm going to sort of do minimal hip turn for the high handicap. I'm going to do sort of what a tour player would do. Just continue the study. So on the follow through with the arms parallel, this is position 8. We'll be looking at around 80 degrees open with the hips at this point, and then by the time we get through to the finish, we'll be looking at about 103 degrees with the tour players open with the hips. So that just gives you an idea of how much the hips are actually turning in the golf swing. We're going to do the study now, so I'm going to do 2 swings. I'm going to do sort of the tour player swing and the high handicapper, and then take a look at the video, see what the difference is. So I'm going to attempt 2 swings here. The first one's going to be sort of the pro turn, which is sort of my normal golf swing. I'm going to try and turn my hips like I normally do. Then I'm going to attempt sort of 30 handicapper. I'm going to try and restrict my hip turn as much as possible. Then we're going to look at the data. We're going to look at the motion measurement numbers. So the sensor we're looking at is this one on the back of the hip. So first swing will be my pro swing. So sort of normal sort of hip turn if possible. Okay, felt pretty good. You can see the sort of ball flight on the screen there. So hopefully they're going to get some good numbers from this. Just to give you guys a little bit of an idea on that shot there, the ball data. So the shot went 172 yards, got a 7.9 here. It carried 164, which is about sort of average for me with a 7.9. Ball data or club data, 95 mile an hour club head speed. Let's take a look now at sort of a 30 handicapper swing and really reduce that hip turn. So pretty good shot there with the pro turn. Now I'm going to try and swing like a 31 handicap. I see this a lot in the bays here. So I'm actually going to turn my feet in. I'm going to try and keep my knee flex the same. I'm going to try and really reduce my hip turn. Still try and hit it pretty good, but I'm just going to try and take out the hips out of this golf swing as best I can. And then we'll take a look at the data. So first thing I'm going to do is actually I'm going to have my feet pretty straight, which I see a lot. It's one of the biggest issues I see. It affects the rotation swing, it puts stress on the knees and the ankles. So I'm going to try and keep my feet straight. I'm going to try and really reduce my hip turn. Still hit a pretty good shot, but just with no hip turn as much as possible. Okay, so still hit a pretty good golf shot there. Be interesting to see sort of some data. Still pitched around 140, so not too bad for distance. It felt pretty good, hit a pretty good golf shot, but I'd really tried to restrict my movements there. I turned the feet in, kept my knee flex the same. The club head speed drops at 82, so quite a big drop, about almost 15 miles an hour drop in sort of club head speed. Let's sit down now and take a look at the 3D motion numbers and see what the difference is. You see me hit the 2 swings there. First one sort of doing the pro swing with sort of a normal hip turn in the golf swing. Second one, I really tried to restrict that like a high handicapper. It's often what I see in the bays here at GOLFTEC. So first thing we're going to do is take a look at the data that we got from the 2 shots. So you can see the data on the screen. So first of all, club head speed, almost 15 miles an hour faster with my normal golf swing, the normal sort of hip turn. When I tried to restrict that, it did slow it down. Other things that changed. Now, interestingly, the club path was virtually the same. I did try and swing it pretty good with both swings. You can see the contact there, pretty close to the middle on both of them. So one thing that did change was the angle attack. So the angle attack was slightly more downwards when I had my normal hip turn. That's probably because I moved my weight through a bit better, and it also affected the loft on the club. About 5 degrees more loft with the 30 handicapper swing, which will tend to lose distance as well. So you can see there, difference in the ball flight, and a total of 26 yards difference in carry with my normal hip turn compared to the no hip turn swing. Let's take a look at the two swings now using the 3D motion. We're going to take a look at the hip turn at various stages. So the first one is the setup. So you can see I turned the foot in, and that was to restrict sort of my hip movement. You'll notice already we get to position 2, which is shaft parallel. You can see I've gone a green number. That's pretty good. That's sort of within the range of what the tour players would do. Yellow would be not quite enough. So same stage of the swing, just notice the gap between the knees. So you can see here on the left, the gap between the knees, no visible gap on the right. So that shows me that the knee flex isn't changing, which is a big function in turning those hips. We move the swing up to the top of the backswing now. So first thing I'll notice is the length of the golf swing. I've got a 48-degree hip turn with my normal golf swing compared to 23 with my 30 handicapper. Notice also you can actually visibly see the club head in the shorter swing or the less hip turn swing, so less power compared to sort of my normal sort of hip turn. Now we're going to move down to position 5 when the shaft is sort of parallel at this point here. Now this is the first time we get a green number with the no hip turn swing. So when we looked at the numbers beforehand, this should be around about 0, so pretty close with both swings. That's the only time we're going to see a green number on the right here. Moving into impact, again 33, pretty close to where the study was. The study was 36 and the study for the high handicapper was 19, so they were pretty close, both of those attempts of the swing there. Let's just move into sort of the finished positions. So when the shaft's parallel, you can see more hip turn on the left, probably not quite enough. So it's the first time we've not had a green number, so I could probably turn my hips a bit more in my own golf swing. Just notice here where the club exits. So on the right here exits almost between the shoulder and the head, whereas here it exits just below the shoulder, which is you'll tend to see with the better players. They won't exit so high like I did on the right, and that's because I'm not turning. But the more you turn, the more the exit will move around to the left. And then just look at the finished position, pretty good, bang on there, 103 with hip turn with the pro swing compared to 47 hip turn with the sort of high handicapper swing. So definitely a big difference there in power. Slight difference in club data as well, but I would say one other point to note would be sort of the injury prevention as well. So the more you have your feet turned in and restrict your knee movement, there's been studies on this. I did a video recently talking about the X factor. The more you restrict your hip turn, the more pressure you're going to put on your back, the more potential injuries you're going to have, and you're not going to hit the ball as far. So for me, try and turn those hips as much as possible. By changing the knee flex, you hit the ball further and potentially a lot straighter as well. So thanks for watching golf. If you've got any questions, post them in the box below. If you don't already, please follow me on my other social media platforms, and we'll see you again next week for another GOLFTEC Swing Tru Motion Study. The most